So if a camel is going at an average speed with an average journey per day, so they realize that for 3 days and 3 nights, it is almost 48 miles. Just imagine, in 3 days, they will only cover 48 miles. So 48 miles, which is equivalent to almost 77, 78 kilometers. Now it's very easy. So wherever you're going, put the destination on Google Maps or whichever maps you're using, right? See how much distance is that. So I left my home. I see, okay, the destination is say 100 kilometers. So that means that this is a travel distance. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina wa Habibina wa Maulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallim Rabbana zidna ilma. So journey is a very important topic. So I'll keep it short and simple. And I'm only going to give one opinion. So what I'm saying is that there is some difference of opinion in regarding safar, regarding journey, but I'm only going to cover one opinion because that will require some more explanation. Basically, the hadith regarding safar is that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, all the hadiths that talk about the safar is the travel journey of 3 days and 3 nights. Or basic travel journey of 3 days. That if somebody travels for 3 days and 3 nights, then this will happen or that will happen. So that is safar is related to a lot of things. It is we discussed that from the perspective of making our prayers short, right? Do qasr. So the 4 rakahs prayer, which is Zuhr and Asr, and Isha, to make 4 rakahs, 2 rakahs, right? Plus we spoke about Masa al-Khufayn, remember, wiping over the leather socks or the wudu socks. So the time period increases from 24 hours to 72 hours if people are in travel. People can continue to wipe over their leather socks as long as they do not take them off after wearing them on complete wudu. What else do you think is related to safar? Anybody else? What rulings are related to safar? What other? I mentioned 2. Shortening the prayers, prolonging the time period for Masal al-Khufayn. What else? Sunnah prayer, yeah, you can skip Sunnah prayer except Fajr, of course, and Maghrib as well. What else? I'm not asking what we have to do, what changes in Safar. What else, guys? Not at all. A Musafir can perfectly lead a prayer. And what else? Combining the prayers, we spoke about it. Yes, combining the prayers, exactly. But there's an ikhtilaf. We spoke about that in detail on Tuesday. What else? But that is not having water. That remains the same when we are residents, not necessarily travelers. What else? My question is, what changes in travel? This is my question. Wherever we are, we have to find direction. Come on. I'm looking out for one thing. Fasting. Fasting becomes an option. For a Musafir, fasting is an option. You can fast, and if somebody chooses not to fast, they cannot fast. How did they transform, or how did they interpret the 3 days and 3 nights? Is that people generally used to travel on camels. People also considered, fuqaha, jurists also considered how much did they travel on an average per day. So if a camel is going at an average speed with an average journey per day, so they realize that for 3 days and 3 nights, it is almost 48 miles. Just imagine, in 3 days, they will only cover 48 miles. So 48 miles, which is equivalent to almost 77, 78 kilometers. Almost 77 to 78 kilometers. So now try to understand this. If people intend, remember the word intend, I-N-T-E-N-D, niyat, irada. If people's niyat, irada, intention is that they are going to travel for more than 48 miles, more than say 78 kilometers. And they also intend that they are going to stay there for less than 15 days. That is maximum of 14. Then they will pray 2 rakahs. They will be considered as musafir in all of these days. So it's all about intention, because it could be, right, I came here, so it could be that I was here in Sydney, for example, for 20 days. But then this was my intention initially. So I'm coming from Dubai, it is definitely more than 48 miles. my intention was 20 days. So what will I do? I'll pray full or half here in Sydney? Full, right? Full, because it's more than 14 days. But it could be that I had to go back in 10 days. Could be. So the initial intention will count. The initial intention will count because things can change. Any emergency can happen, ma'azallah, or anything can happen. People might have to change their travel plans, but the initial intention will count. Or you can also consider, like, for example, my intention was to travel for 48 miles, 78 kilometers. But like, say, as soon as I traveled, like, say, 20 kilometers, I thought, oh my God, I forgot my phone back home. So I take a U-turn, come back home, and then I say, leave it, man. I'll go tomorrow. So if there was any prayer, while I was going, say I was praying a Zohar prayer, I'll pray too, because my initial intention was that I'll travel for 78 kilometers. But then I came back, although I only traveled 20 kilometers. So the initial intention will count. Understand the intention point. So intention is important. Now it's very easy. So wherever you're going, put the destination on Google Maps or whichever maps you're using, right? See how much distance is that. So I left my home. I see, okay, the destination is, say, 100 kilometers. So that means that this is a travel distance. All right, so intention is that I'm not going to stay there for 15 days or more. I'll stay there for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, and it is more than 78 kilometers. I will be a traveler. But the second question is, when will I start shortening my prayers? I mean, what if I left my home? There's a masjid, right next door. I go to the masjid. I've already left my home to go to, for example, Orange. Right? Orange is, how long is Orange? 150 kilometers. It's a travel distance, right? So what if I left my home? I said, okay, it's Zohar time. Let me pray Zohar in the masjid. Then I'll leave. Will I pray too or not? So the answer is no. When will this rule of shortening prayers be applied to me? That will be applied to me when I will leave the limits of my city. City is a huge city, right? Sydney is a huge city. So I think, how much do you think will be distance between East Sydney and West Sydney? The eastmost point, which is the shore, and the westmost point, which we call the Sydney, which we still consider Sydney. 80-90 kilometers. 80-90 kilometers. So you can see that within the city, it's a travel distance from one end to the other end. So that does not make any sense. You're with that. I'm saying that you will start shortening once you leave the limits of the city. Here you are within the limits of Sydney, and you're traveling 90 kilometers. So in such huge cities like Sydney, like Melbourne, right? So what you consider is not the limits of Sydney, but the limits of the council that you live in. Or what do you call, like, for example, what do you live? What's the name of that? West Bennett Hills. So what do you call Bennett Hills? Suburb? Okay. So not the council. So once you leave the limits of your suburb, then you will become a traveler. So consider every suburb as a village or a town or a city. Understood? So consider every suburb as a city. So as soon as you will enter the next suburb and your intention is to travel 78 kilometers or more, and you intend to stay there for less than 15 days, then you will consider yourself as a traveler, and you will pray 2 rakahs if you have to pray. Understood this point? So it's not about the same. So, as long as it is less than 15 days. Same days, of course, less than 15 days. So as soon as you will leave the limits of your suburb, you will start praying Qasr, shorten your prayers until when? That's the third point. Until when? Until? No. Back to the suburb, exactly. Until that you come back to your suburb. Until that you come back to your suburbs. So the key thing, the key word is your city, or in case of bigger cities, your suburb. Because if I ask any of you, where are you from back home? So people say Bangladesh. So come on, don't call Bangladesh. Say, give me the town, because it's the town that counts. It's the city that counts. Not Karachi, not Pakistan, Karachi or Rawalpindi or Kharia, right? That's what counts. No, don't say Pakistan. Pakistan is huge. Bangladesh is huge, right? India is huge. So it is about your city/town. Depends. Understood? Everybody with me? So we'll continue to do Qasr until that we return back to our hometown, not home, hometown. All right?